In this video, we're going to be learning how to paint our warm and cool color scheme sun and moon painting. So in part one video, you learned how to split your paper in half and draw it with half sun, half moon in pencil. Make sure that after you've done it in pencil that you've retraced all of your lines that you drew in pencil and all of your details in black crayon so that they show up better when you're painting. Now, you want to get a couple things for yourself to paint. First off, this newsprint paper, you're going to get on the cart over near the window, and that's going to protect your desk so you have to do less cleaning later. You're also going to want half a cup of water in the yogurt cup, some temper cakes, which are located at the end of the painting center, and you can share these with the person next to you too. You don't need to have your own. And you can also get yourself a large brush and a medium brush, and that can be a brush that's kind of square or the pointier ones, whatever you're more comfortable with. So to start out, I'm going to be painting with my warm colors. Okay, so I'm going to start with my sun. It is definitely easier if you focus on one color scheme at a time so that you don't wind up slipping up and making mistakes. So I'm going to start out with my sun. So in order to make these paints work really well, you want to wet your brush and really, really rub the temper cake. The temper cake, it's kind of almost like a bar of soap, if you see like that. I don't want you to pick it up though, but I'm just showing you, it's like a bar of soap that you would use in the bathtub. So you would rub until you get the paint on your brush, and then you can start to paint the area that you want. Now I'm going to kind of create sort of a pattern using my paint colors. So I'm going to make every other triangle here orange. It's important that when you're using colors that are similar to each other, like all your warm colors, that you just think about where the colors are going so that you don't wind up having very similar colors next to each other or even the same color next to each other, because then there won't be enough contrast between them. Contrast is showing like the difference between two elements, like two colors. Now, another thing that I like to do when I'm painting is instead of painting one section at a time, I like to paint one color at a time. This helps you when you're an artist to kind of spread your color around. So I'm going to make these orange, and I'm also going to make the inside of the mouth orange, and I'm going to make the inside part of the eye orange. Now I'm using a large brush. If you wanted to use your smaller brush for this because you're more comfortable, that's fine too. So now I have kind of all of my orange out of the way. Now that I'm going to go switch colors, I'm going to rinse my brush thoroughly, rub it on the side, and I'm going to switch to another color. Now, if you notice when you're going to paint, if you start to kind of get the other color on there, that means that your water might be a little dirty. So you can always go switch your water. And you can also use, so I got fresh water. You can also use a wet paper towel to clean the temper cake when it gets dirty, because you don't want to have those kind of muddy mixed colors. So anytime that you need to do that while you're painting, you're more than welcome to. You don't have to ask permission to use the sink. So now I'm going to paint my yellow sun. You can make your sun any color that you want, and I'm going to show you in the next part how to kind of mix these colors together. Now it's important when you're painting with temper cakes that you really rub the temper cake to get a lot of color on there. We want to make sure that our color is very opaque, which means not see-through or streaky. If your color looks streaky or see-through, kind of like it does here, it means that you need to rub a little more. You have too much water. If you have too much water, your colors get thin and streaky, and they also kind of can drip all over the place. So now I want to make sure I keep my yellow away from here, so I'm going to do every other color in my background here. So I'm creating patterns with my colors. So remember, like I said, if you choose one color at a time and then spread it around, it's a lot easier to balance those colors. Okay, so now I want to talk to you a little bit about mixing colors. So, I am going to use some red in here later, but I want to show you how to mix colors. So let's say I wanted to do kind of a color that was between red and orange. So I'll show you what the red looks like when it's painted. So I'm rubbing really, really hard with a temper cake. And fill this in. Now I'm going to make this section here red too. So I can start to kind of create a pattern out of these colors. And then I'll make this in here yellow. So now let's pretend that I painted all of that red. Now I want to make kind of a red-orange. I'm going to take a little bit of red and I'm going to put it in my orange. So now I have what's called a tertiary color. That's in between a primary like red and a secondary like orange. So it's basically like having a really dark orange. So let's say I wanted to do this, my tertiary color. Okay, so that's like my dark orange color. Maybe I'll make these kind of my tertiary red-orange color. Okay, so when you can mix colors, it just gives you more options. And there's actually a color wheel right above the painting center that can help you as well if you'd like to use that. So at this point, I would finish the rest of this with my warm colors. Once I'm all done, I would make sure that I wash my brush really well. And then I would switch to my cool colors, okay, like blue, green, and violet. Now, when it's time for cleanup, if my paints are a little messy because I mixed colors, it's important that I get a wet paper towel over by the sink, wet it, bring it out a little bit, and then just wipe it nice and clean. So that is how we are going to be using the painting center to paint our warm and cool sun and moon. Best of luck.